Hi guys, Tips here with another Sunday breakdown. So the first pair that we're going to look at is gbp kiwi. So we had this triangle. This was the first indication of a sell signal. So we thought actually price, when it tested here, we're going to have like a continuation down to this end. So price actually continued, and while it was continuing, it actually formed a wedge, a wedge that went up to this area. And last week around Wednesday, it formed like a pin bar. This was a bearish pin bar that we had, and going on a 4-hour time frame, we had this as our resistance. So on a small time frame, this was our resistance, and actually price broke below this area, came back, tested again, then we went down to this area, then we came back again, then price actually finally broke below here. So if it was a buy signal, price was supposed to sustain this area, then we had a buy signal. Unfortunately, it didn't happen like that. Then we had this is more like a continuation. So there's actually a possibility that price will actually go to this area, then from there we'll see price moving down towards our take profit around this area. So that's it for sterling kiwi. And the other pair that we had, so I actually drew this line last week, and while I was doing the midweek review, I was like, you will only be safe to buy above this area, and we had this area, then price broke above. On a smaller time frame, you will see price actually sustained this, formed like a triangle. This was just a triangle just to show price was actually sustaining on above this area. And unfortunately, I don't know what happened on Friday. Price actually came down, it was stop loss over this area, then it continued. So I'm only gonna say, like, you can actually only buy above this area. So for now, I'm just waiting, maybe price has to come back to this resistance, since maybe this bearish pin bar that was on the daily time frame around this area wasn't enough. Maybe price just had to come back just to this area, then we'll see price coming back down. So this is the same market structure. I'm still following this market structure, where you have an ascending channel, then we have our resistance. Same as this area, we have our resistance over this area, then our descending channel, then price just has to take its time over this area. Period, maybe see it for the next 4 days, then you'll see price actually coming back to the above area. But I can only say to anyone who still wanna buy this area, make sure that it's above this area. You stop loss a little bit below this area. That's all. The pair that we had last week, so this pair actually disappointed me a bit. So I'm just gonna continue from last week's pairs, last week's review. So while this price was aligning on this resistance, I actually explained that price was gonna shoot to the upside, because price was actually aligning itself with resistance instead of falling back down into this area. So with that being said, you see price going up, having the resistance over this area, then came back, and I was like, on the midweek review, I still remember I explained that price is gonna shoot up, and we're gonna see a continuation to the upside. And I actually also explained the importance and the correlation between emerging markets with each other. So like, we had elections in South Africa on the 8th, and price was actually favoring rand instead of the US. So I think maybe that's why we had these jumps on US Ruby. So unfortunately, I'm seeing this, so like, actually price is aligning itself. So on a smaller time frame, see price is actually aligning itself with the, in this case, will be support, and our resistance will be over this area. And instead of going back into this channel, we see price is not respecting this trend line. So I'm hoping that price will actually go back, but that I'll be just naive. So in this case I'm only gonna sell if price break below this area, then I have another sell signal. So in this area only look for sell signals, or just wait. Probably maybe you might see price actually shooting back into this area, but with the elections results being announced, you, like if you were following the elections, you know, like ANC is the party to be. So I'm actually gonna look for sell setup only. GBP rand. So I did explain this also. So I had my reward ratio over to the upside, so I was actually hoping to buy, and on the midweek review I explained this, and I was like, price is actually aligning itself with this support over this area. So it was not support because price had already broke below and was now targeting this area, and I was like, price is actually aligning itself with this area, around this area. So I'm only looking for sell signals, and I had posted, I will actually attach the chart on the screen. So price actually fell below here, just made a continuation over this area, and we had a continuation, same as what happened here. So this is the reason why I had to sell again. Price was actually aligning itself again with another resistance over this area. Price was actually aligning itself with this resistance again, so I had to sell again. So I actually sold over this area. So with the markets opening, I'm actually anticipating probably a jump to this area. Then from there I had already put like a buy limit, so we can only walk as far as this. But you know, with the volatility that we're gonna have over Monday, you'll see price movement like this. So you can know that you if you haven't taken any position with this, I think it's actually best to just stay out of it, or if you do, just make sure that your stop loss is tight. So I'm actually anticipating that price is actually gonna head down, and if it doesn't, then you see price actually accumulating over this area. Then from there we'll see a continuation to the downside. So that's the same as any other rand pairs. So again with gold, so the last week I was saying I'm not gonna trade gold, and I didn't trade gold last week, and this week I'm actually seeing a favorable scenario. So last week what I was explaining this double bottom, and I was like, price formed a double bottom, so I don't see any favorable downside of price anymore. So I'm actually gonna look for buy positions only above this area. So if I zoom it in, you'll see. So I drew this trend line, and I'm hoping that price will actually go to this trend line. Then from there, you'll see price coming back down to this resistance and aligning itself. So this is just one of the strategies that I saw that actually helps to see if price is gonna continue, if you're gonna have price continuation. So in this area, if we see price actually aligning itself over this area and coming back to retest this as our support, or around this area as confluence of price, then we'll see price actually going to back to the upside. So for now I'm only looking for buy setups, and if in any case price comes back down to this area, I'm only setting below this resistance, then I can say I can sell. The last pair that we're going to look at this week is gbpjpy. So I know everyone is actually looking for a buy signal, so I saw a couple of setups last week for this pair, and everyone was like, guys, let's buy, but price actually broke below here. A lot of people was actually buying over this area in hoping that price was gonna go back up to this area, but unfortunately it's not going as so. Like overall, you'll see we have a channel over this area we have a channel that is actually going to the downside. So that's our overall scenario. And if you go back, you see this also. This was a support over this area, while its price was supposed to go to the upside, and unfortunately it didn't. So I, with my analysis, this is price just consolidating over this area. I don't know what's gonna happen, but if it breaks below here, I'm actually looking for a setup. And if it sustains itself into this area, I'm not gonna buy only. I can only buy to the upside only around this area. So that's pretty much everything for this week, guys. I hope you're gonna have a good week, and please